Very good morning, everyone. Welcome to the day 2 for the Sangam Networking Event at Hyderabad. So, Additional Secretary Sir is here, and he will be having a tour of T-Hub, and after that at 10 o'clock we will be having the outcome event. So before that we can start with the presentations from the moderators about the discussions which have happened yesterday. So I would like to request, like, if any of you could volunteer to, present. Second, okay. What about Mr. Dhirendra from Shed? Would you be present? Okay, please come. Sorry? Yesterday you had sent me. Yeah, I'll just open. अच्छा, not required. Okay, okay, okay. आप switch कर देना, ठीक है? आपने मुझे पर्सनल मैसेज भेजा था क्या? आपने कहाँ पे भेजा था? Environment वाले ग्रुप में? इस साइड में भेजा था. कर दो, switch कर दो.
No, I don't think like wash people have not come up and triple ID is also not there. So good morning everyone. So there is one more vertical introduced in this Hyderabad event, that is water distribution network. So we discussed use case where we are saying we'll develop a digital twin for water distribution network, and we finalize the location as Varanasi. So it is fit for Sangam in a way. When you want to plan a sustainable infrastructure, then the water and air, they are both key things. So water distribution network plays a very important role, and it is aligning with the objective of Sangam. And the best part is this use case would be data driven, predictive, and it can also act as a decision making tools. And then the possibility of connecting with other use case, we have also explored healthcare, aspirational block, and disaster. Specifically, if I say in case of any fire events, this water distribution network and this digital tool can play a role. So we also jot down the requirements which is needed for this use case. So we are using the telco data for location and the movement, since Varanasi is a religious place and the tourist influx is more. So there we are using the OD metrics from telco to track the the movement and the locations, census data, municipality, household, and ward boundary and population. Existing water network details, which includes all details of pipelines, elevation, terrain data. And we have also, included the water treatment plant. So, water quality is basically dependent upon the treatment plants. So we will just touch the, the input and output parameters of water quality, and then simulation and land use pattern. So this will give us the consumption in terms of daily, weekly, monthly, seasonal, or any special events like Kum and other religious events. So we also discussed about the who can be the potential contributor to this use case. So Triple IT, Hyderabad, Wash Innovation, Airshed, Invikara, Hexagon, CBIT, ISRI. So we have nearly all the expertise which is required to do this use case. So the components which we have finalized is basically divided into three parts for the DOCs: scenario planning and simulation, So there would be a demand forecasting and management. We are not going with traditional way of forecasting, but also using the telco data that would give us the much more accurate, forecasting in case of, hotels, restaurants, and the people residing in the respective wards. And we have also included the behavioral nudge in the planning and simulation part, and real-time monitoring and management. So the water quality and quantity both will be monitored through IoT sensor-based instruments. Then predictive maintenance is one of the key component in the distribution system. So that we'll also cover. Energy optimization, that includes, say, people are using, you can say, motors for pumping the water. So we'll also get the information, we'll also collect the information, and then the energy optimization is also one of the key component. Operational efficiency, and the biggest part is accountability of non-revenue water. So those people, they have community, you can say there are, the community is living and they have a common, tap, or they are using that water. So there is no, we'll also identify those non-revenue water locations, water leakages, and finally citizen awareness and feedback through visualization, which was already told by us. It's like you need to create trust in people that you can drink this water and it is safe for you. So the hoarding things will also come into the play. And this is what we have also come up with, the component which is required. So we obviously need data and models like hydraulic models, AI/ML models, and mathematical models. Some hardware requirements, estimated cost still we need to work out. And there are certain regulatory issues which were highlighted, like installing the hardware, we need a permission, GIS data, departmental data. And there are two case studies which are already there as in reference. One is in UK and another one is in Pune. And we also jot down the potential as the smart city, water supply boards, development authorities, and Amrit towns. These are our potential buyers. So timeline we have to still work out how we should proceed in the POC 6 months. So that today we will find it out, finalize. So any questions or any suggestions? Architecture, like yesterday, Kumud has shown the architecture, so we have to follow that standard architecture. So that we will see how today we will brainstorm us how we will, use that architecture in this particular use case. Yes, today we will try to assess the cost as well.
I also did not see the data sources from where all you are going to source the data and which one is available now.
Yeah, moreover, like on the broader terms, we have finalized it. Municipal corporation and water boards, supply boards, and and today we'll work it out in the segregated manner, which data is lying where. So today we get almost around 1.5 hours. We have, I think, time was pretty less. So today we'll work out everything. Yeah.
Hello. Uh, this was question to DOIT, like as sir was mentioning of the data sources. Yesterday we are part of that discussion. So most of the data sources are available with the departments. So is DOIT going to facilitate the POC partners to get access to the data?
Kumud, he has a question for you.
So I was mentioning the data sources is important. Most of the use case what we worked are being available with the water departments or other wards or municipal boundaries. So is DOIT going to facilitate the partners who are working for the POC to get access? Okay. Because there was a question asking if partner had they may be having some NDAs signed with them not to share the data. So if this comes from the direct customers, that will be helpful for the.
Yeah, that obviously we will need the department, so we will get in touch with them and onboard them for that kind of data.
So and one more thing was the architecture, just it was also discussed. So yesterday there was an architecture displayed. So is this POC also will be carried out based on that architecture? It will be parallelly work or again individual architecture to be created for each use case?
So there will be individual architecture for each use case. That was an overlaying architecture, which will be, the reference architecture. You can treat it as a reference architecture based on which you reuse those components which were present in that architecture as per the use case, specific use case.
Okay, thank you.
So any more questions? Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Dhirendra. Any other group would like to volunteer to present? Ms. Aster, Ms. Dr. Shiva, I think, please come. Anji sir.
Yes, so very good morning. So on behalf of the, like a team which is working for the disaster management group, I'm presenting this. So there are two use cases are taken for this group. That the first one is fire rescue planning and the second is about flood rescue planning. So as you can see in this like a first use case, there are three digital twin, like a parallel, like a cases coming where we'll be collaborating with them. The first scene, whenever there is a, like a scene or event, like occurs, so it begins over there. The call is made to the central, like a command, and from there it starts, like it comes into the, like a action, and sends, like a push notifications to the, like a people who are under, like this geo-fenced, like a affected area, and it connects with the, like a other, like a point of contacts also. The first one being the, like a translation digital twin, and the healthcare, like a digital twin, and the environmental digital twin also for data on smokes and fumes and stuff, which is coming out of, like this area. And immediately UAVs, drones, and all of the other, like associated, like things will come into the picture for the rescue rehabilitation and taking the affected people, out of the building and reaching to the nearest, like a healthcare centers. So given like this scene, so the value proposition, if you see, like these text, so basically actually detecting some kind of anomaly in terms of, like a temperature, like if you see the IR, like a sensors. Okay, so if anybody is left, like a behind in the, like affected area, so that also can be sensed, because there is one limitation what we realized through our discussions. It's not necessary that everybody might be carrying smartphones. So completely 100% relying on this might be a little tricky. So what else, like other technologies can come into the picture. So we are taking help of, like those also, so that we can predict that anomaly and address this situation. Then deployment of first responders, emergency response team, medical team, etc. in a coordinated, like a fashion, in a very quick, like a response time. Identify the accurate location of the incident, because that also is a tricky thing, because if this will be helpful in congested areas or high density, like a populated areas, how to, like a deal with those, like a places. Not every, like a community or every, like a locality inside the city also has, like enough access for, like wide body, like a trucks and all. So those kind of provisions also must be integrated in that, like a digital twin, like how to, like a deal with those. Then simulation of the impact of the fire on the building or the infrastructure to support planning the rescue operations. And further down the time, like a damage assessment, reconstruction, and all of those efforts. Well, potential customers, you see, of course, the DG of the fire services, every city, every town has, like this as a government body. Civil defense, home guards, and yeah, collectorate, municipality, like a bodies, individual housing societies and property owners, and also. Key components, you can see here the component wise, like data, hardware, software, APIs and specific data requirements, and what are the components, and we have listed down the identified data and service providers also on the right hand side column. So you can see related to the weather data, maps, GIS, satellite, like imageries, sensor data, LIDAR, BIM, etc. Then the second for the hardware, network and communication systems, IoT sensors, drones, and all of those, like a paraphernalia. Simulation tools, analytics, AI, ML tools, etc. We have, like a group. Then common link protocol. Then the last one is a specific like a requirement particular to like this group. As you can see, we do not have yet identified like a data providers in this group. Probably we are looking for it. If you have any suggestions. So in this real-time population density, road traffic, network traffic density of the affected area, geotag location of affected people, surveillance feeds, CCTVs, and like these kind of things, so that real-time like assessment can be taken care of, and that can be integrated the central server. Okay, so yeah, so the group of like a data providers, service providers is given on the right side. The second scenario here is for the like a flood rescue, like a planning. So again, like a geofencing and getting to know the like users and the affected people in any given like a area, and then addressing it. So here also like the technologies needed are like a GIS, BIM, LIDAR data, etc. Using the telecom like existing infrastructure, like we can identify, and with the help of analytics and data from sensors and devices, this can be taken care of. So the value proposition in this scene you can see identifying the flood prone and affected areas, early flood warnings using prediction like models. Like some of the places across the country, if you see for example Assam is right now also submerged. It happens every year, and many of the places they get intermittent maybe every few years, and some are like a very emergency like a based, maybe flash floods and such a like a scenarios. So maybe establishing a distinction and then drawing the like a projection accordingly, that like a methodology can be adopted. Evacuation route planning with the help of transportation models, like how this can be made best possible, because in event of like a floods, infrastructure all gets compromised, and first even the transportation like roads gets damaged, and all of those connectivity sometimes gets like disconnected and all. So yeah, the next point, plan the quick deployment of first responders, emergency response team, medical team, etc. Share simulation results with the first responders for the efficient and timely operation. Simulate the impact of the flood on the properties and infrastructure. So here we were actually thinking to integrate application of AR models, augmented reality models. So in the existing model of digital twin, this like a secondary layer can be superimposed, and we can communicate the very easy, understandable, and user-friendly like a data using the AR like a model on anyone's like a cell phones. So that is one like a proposition. Damage assessment and reconstruction planning in the aftermath. Potential customers, National Disaster Management Authority, of course, and then there are State Disaster Management Authority, SDMAs, and municipalities and the affected areas, like those, like bodies also. So finally, the proof of concept is for like these two, fire rescue planning. So fire situation in a multi-story building, probably in Delhi or maybe any other, like a metro, wherever we can get, like to easily, like simulate this. Flood rescue planning. So some states, which are frequently facing like issues, and some cities also like Delhi, Bangalore, and maybe a few more which encounter like things. Implementation plan over these 6 months. So the first month identifying the and standardizing the data sources. The next 4 months for design and development, and last month for the testing and deployment, etc. That's the tentative like planning as of now. We are open for any suggestions. Yeah, any queries? So this is as of now. Yes, please.
In current system, how many fire stations are available per 5 square kilometer, 10 square kilometer? What is the density of firefighting stations? And because it is irrelevant to have a very efficient firefighting system in each building, we must have a fire station nearby for quick response. And I am worried that is really a digital twin required for what you are proposing. Existing software systems or applications can't handle all the architecture or flow you are suggesting.
So see, I'll come one by one. So the first query you asked, like how many firefighting stations per square kilometer. Well, so it comes from the BIS, like a standard, Bureau of like Indian standards, like this the recommendations. Okay, so if you refer that documentation per like a standard, comes from the Indian agency. Then second, coming down to the like individual building level. So the for the fighting fire stations are there, but they take time to like reach. One must has to reach them over telephone or whatever way, and then they will be responding in like a few minutes time. As soon as possible they can, right? So the first thing at the point of the fire itself, whoever are the occupants, they also are informed and given with like a such infrastructure and tools. Like you see these ABC fire extinguishers kept in the every like a public building. Okay, so the first thing it comes like from there only. Like if you are the user, if you are the occupant, and if you are present in the building, you are supposed to fight the fire, save yourself, and get out of it, and help like others also. Right, so beginning like those fire extinguishers and the fire hydrants also. If you see right next outside our buildings, there are fire like a hydrant like a points given. Okay, so they are given for used by the fire tender when those like machines engines arrive, right? So they connect to that point and they start sprinkling from outside. But inside the building there are already like a smoke detectors, fire detectors, and sprinklers also involved. So it's a very like a unique integrated system. Earlier it used to be based on the like a siren based. Okay, so in a building like this scale, there may be like 50 or 100 like a sirens present at this like a point of time in different like locations, different parts of this building. Okay, but before this it got converted onto the digital platform. You have to manually identify which siren is actually blaring and cordon like that portion off and save the like occupants. But with this digital integration of like this thing, you can get to know on your panel which actually corner of the building is on fire and which portions you need to cordon off. Okay, so digital twin, and I believe you asked the relevance, and this is amazingly like relevant in a fire like situation. It's definitely is going to like a help, because once you have this in an integrated system, you do not have to run and rely only on the auditory or your own manual judgment, but the system itself is going to tell you which region is affected and how other is in the other areas is going to spread, for example horizontally or even vertically. Right, what is the like a prevailing wind direction, because that also plays an like interesting role in the fire, plus the spread of the smokes and fumes. So more than fire, in an event of a fire, actually smokes and fumes actually kill people. Okay, so how to safeguard from those also? So what are the ventilation like a mechanism? For example, this is a centrally controlled air conditioned building. Okay, so how that centrally air conditioned like building and these like a shafts of air conditioning, they are going to play their role. Okay, so can the smokes can be sucked from those, and also all of these things you can integrate using the building information modeling, that is BIM. Okay, and make this building as a very interesting like a unit to fight the fire. Okay, so I see an amazing role. This is at the individual, like a building, like a level. Now coming down to the, like a locality. So you may have heard if the density of buildings is like a quite, like a high, then there are chances of spreading fire from one building to another, right? So in event of those situations also, the urban, like spaces, like a digital twin is going to help, like a very efficiently, because what is the, like a possibility of spreading of the fire in which direction and all of those things. So I think is totally, like apt in this kind of situation, plus integrating with the healthcare and the transportation, and the environment. Okay, so it's one of the best fit. Yeah, any other queries? So, yeah, thank you all for joining. If there are any inputs, we are here. HTML. Yeah, I'll give you.
While he's setting up, good morning everyone. My name is Archak Mittal. I'm a faculty from IIT Bombay Civil Department. So this is a continuation of the transportation related use cases that we have been having over the past events occurred at different locations. In the past three events, there were discussions about intelligent transportation systems and multimodal journey planning. So in this one, in Hyderabad's event, we spoke about or discussed the comprehensive mobility plan. Uh, so here we tried to be aligned with the previous two use cases that were on the lines with transportation. So before I go into the deep of what we discussed, I want to give a very brief overview of what comprehensive mobility plan is. So for the comprehensive mobility plan, it is a, as the name says, it's comprehensive, which means that it accounts for different types of mobility solutions a region can have. So which means that it will include metro, paratransit, also road transportation, buses, or etc. So this comprehensive mobility plan is not only for next 1 year, 2 year, or to meet the current demand, but it is visionary, it is futuristic, and also takes into account the growth factor of the transportation needs, mobility needs, or the public transportation needs. So in general, these mobility plans are for next 15 years, 20 years, or 5 years. So with that, we found that there is also a need for such a comprehensive planning tool. So with that, we have a vision to develop a digital twin platform that will help in analyzing city level mobility patterns that, uh, that accounts for multimodal data sources. And this platform will enable the infrastructure planning through scenario-based simulations, evaluation of emerging technologies that are being envisioned or will be envisioned in the future. And after, at the end, the tool should be able to help in assessment of data assessment, and also give a data-driven approach to make the decisions. So our primary beneficiaries that we are planning for is Ministry of Housing or Urban Planners and Municipal Corporation. So here I have only two beneficiaries, but this is just like a family. So for example, in municipal corporation, it will include city level planners, it will also include public transportation planners, and also maybe some other service providers that are related, could be like Ola or Uber, cab aggregators. So in yesterday's discussion, we were able to come up with few of the KPIs, but this is still not a comprehensive of the or the final list. So the idea here is we want to give, with the comprehensive plan, we want to give a better user experience. So if a user wants to from point A to point B, how I would say enjoyable or a restful trip that could be um, for the person who is traveling, let's say at 5 in the AM, 5 AM or in the morning or 6 AM. So we want to give a better connectivity, better user experience to all the public transport people or public transit users, and also for the private vehicle owners. So with that, our first aim is to uh, see what is the impact of different comprehensive plannings or different plannings on the average commute time, and how these different plans are affecting the share of public transportation utilization. At, uh, on the other side, we also want to see what are the implications on the environmental factors. So to study those environmental factors, we are looking at AQI, fuel consumption, and from the fleet managers or from the service providers, we are looking at how much those assets are being used. So for example, how many cars are in a rail, what is the utilization of cars or rail cars? Are they going empty or are they overcrowded? Which means that if they are going empty, maybe those fleet or those buses can be utilized at some other routes where the buses are overcrowded, which means that they need to deploy more vehicles. We are also looking at the safety matrices. So for example, if there is a certain area where see there are a lot of incidents happening or crime is happening, so we do not know the solution, but these tools will also enable to look at enable the city planners to see that these are the hot spots where there is a need for intervention, and they can go to the site, or they can go to the, or they can look at the data, what are the types of events that are happening and what type of interventions they can do as they go along. Not only we want to look at the, I mean, we are looking at the safety matrix. So along the same line, are there any routes, are there any type of commutes that are adding misery to the commuters? For example, if there is a transfer at a particular junction or at a particular station, how long they are waiting there just to make a transfer from say route A to route B, from line A to line B. So if there is a lot of delay, or the delay encountered at a certain point or at a certain time or day, is there a need to maybe change the frequency, change the timetable of multiple routes, so that the delay for that station is reduced by for the commuters? Or if there are more public or more private vehicle owners that are, they are going from a certain along a certain route, and every day at 8 a.m. the commute time for that 2 kilometer route is 30 minutes. That will trigger a need that okay, there is some intervention needed at this location. So with that, we also want to look at the misery index. Then we were also looking at some KPIs that will help in assessing the direct economical aspects. So therefore, so that we can see how much it's costing the users to use that facility. So with that, we are proposing to also have how much claims are being generated that are related to transportation, because ultimately this increase in insurance claim will come to the customer. So can we reduce the accidents? Can we reduce the medical claims that are related to incidents happening on the roads or related to the transportation? So we also had a discussion on what type of data we need. Um, So most of the data that I have here is borrowed from the previous discussions on the use cases related to transportation. However, there were few additional data sets that we are looking at, and they are also available that we discussed yesterday, and we found that they are available and can be procured through our multiple collaborators who were present in the room yesterday. And so other reason that we want to have similar type of data set, at least for transportation use case, is that so that one use case can help the other use case. So of course, first of all, we are looking at telco OD data, but interesting part or the data set that are different from the other transportation related use cases are we are looking at the toll data, CCTV data, RTO data or GS data, and aerial view data, so that we can have a better picture of the ground truth. We can create models using the collected data from say telco, LiDAR, weather data, and urban planning data. So these can be model, and we can always have a good model, but how well we are representing the ground truth. So to get a secondary data on the ground truth, we come up with a list of secondary data sets. For the architecture, this is very much similar to the previous discussions. There is a need for a sandbox for pilot. Of course, privacy concerns are there, and they were raised yesterday as well. But following the tradition, we are following it to the other verticals and horizontals. We also need a 3D city model, buildings, elevation, behavior models, how people are acting to different modes, how they are acting to, how they are choosing the different types of pricing for different types of public transportation, or let's say toll roads, etc. We also need simulation tools to simulate different traffic patterns, different infrastructure, different public transportation facilities. We also need to look at the environmental factors. So what is the fuel consumption, what are the implications on the air quality, and also when I'm saying disaster management, this is to this is not only for actual disaster, but also for some non-recurrent but big events. So for example, if there are some big festivals, Kumbh Mela or Ganpati Visarjan or some other big events that may not occur very frequently or happen only once in a while, but they do require a lot of planning. They need provision for routing, they need provision for traffic diversion or restriction. So those type of capabilities are also envisioned for this architecture. So this architecture is again borrowed from the other use cases and needs to be updated. We are planning to update this in today's discussion. So we can talk about it after it has been finalized. So here is the summary of what are the value propositions, who are the key enablers, and who could be potential funders for such a study. So starting with the value proposition. So the tool will give the first biggest thing that we are looking at is that the tool will give a data-driven planning opportunities or planning platform that will help in optimizing the infrastructure planning, and what are the benefits and cost for different infrastructures that are being envisioned. So because we are looking at multiple KPIs, multiple aspects of transportation, environment, or some disaster management or a big event planning. So this type of comprehensive planning will help in making the policies robust and agile to the future needs for the transportation. And again, sustainability. So sustainable development is also a core of such a long-term transportation planning or mobility planning. So this tool will also help in meeting the SDG goals. Because we are looking at this tool, planning tool from the aim to give a better user experience to the common public. So this also give a platform to assess the socio-economical benefits. For example, can we move private vehicle owners away from their vehicles and have them encouraged or incentivize them to use the public transportation? And which in turn means that we want to have a better smart mobility solution. For example, can we increase the routes for the buses? Can we better optimize the route for buses or for metro, train, or other types of shared mobilities? So for this, we need expertise coming from multiple domains. So our key enablers for the success would be that we want to establish center of excellence that will be powered by consortiums. These consortiums will be theme based or they will be domain expertise based that will feed into a bigger center of excellence that can work in synergies and can complement each other. There will be a need for experts that are coming from different backgrounds, which includes transportation, mobility, um, along with the experts that are experienced in the digital twin or digital twin, and also which means that we need to have experts that are not only experienced with the software side, but also what are the hardware requirements, what are the algorithms, models required. So we need experts from those domains as well. This is from the development side, but again there are some constraints and there are some rules and regulations that we need to follow. So for that we need regulators that are coming from transportation, urban urban developers, and from the economics, so that we can also contain our use cases, contain our plans or the how do I say, our potential solutions within the existing framework, existing policies and regulation. And on the same note, if existing policies or regulations are missing certain aspects, for example, regulations along the emerging technologies, we would be able to communicate firsthand with those regulators and should be able to modify the rules and regulation or policies along the upcoming technologies through these interactions. So here are the some potential sources of funding, which I am not going to list down, which I am not going to speak one by one, but these are mostly coming from the government or the public sector. But some of the sources we have looked at are also from the our collaborators or people in the consortium who can, if not contribute in cash, but can in kind, or the capabilities or the engineering time that they are they have been working on in the past. So this timeline we need to again modify for our use case, but our idea is that for the transportation related use cases, we want to have a better alignment in the timeline and want to be synchronized in all the use cases. So This is where I want to stop speaking, and please let me know if there are any questions or if there's any time for questions. So if not, thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Archak, for your talk on the transportation use case. So, sir will be here any minute. So, two groups presentation. One is on aspirational districts and one is on healthcare. So we will be having the healthcare presentation after this outcome event. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the outcome event for the second day networking event at T-Hub Hyderabad. This is the final networking event of the Sangam Stage 1, and we are honored to have with us for this outcome event ceremony Shri Neeraj Verma, Additional Secretary from Department of Telecom, Shri Nitin Jain, Special DGT from APLSA, Shri Ratna Kumar, DG Admin from APLSA, and also our guests from the Telangana government and all our special guests from the industry. A very warm welcome to all of you. So, sir, we have had, this is a two-day event. We have had discussions across 5 verticals in this event. The verticals include transport mobility, healthcare, environment, aspirational districts, and disaster management. So all the participants have participated in a very enthusiastic manner, and it has been a very engaging discussion for yesterday. So we are all very excited to interact with you all and show the outcomes of the event. So these have been our moderators, sir, who have helped us steer the sessions for the 4 events. So without wasting much time now, I would like to, firstly I would like to welcome Shri Neeraj Verma sir with a plant. So I request Shri Asit Kadian to please present a small plant to sir and welcome him. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Asit sir to please present a plan to Shri Nitin Jain, Special Director General Telecom from APLSA. Next, I would like to invite Shri Santapuri Prasad from APLSA to present a plan to Shri Ritatna Kumar sir, DDG Admin. Then I would like to invite Shri Raghav Reddy to present a plan to Shri Bhavesh Mishra, who is the Deputy Secretary from IT&C Telangana Government. Thank you, sir. So moving forward with the event, I would like to invite Shri Asit Kadyan, sir, to give a brief overview of the 4 networking events which have been held in the last 1.5 months. So Asit, sir, please come on stage.
Good morning, sir. So I will present brief about the Sangam POC stage 1. And this Sangam initiative was divided into 2. Stage 1 was exploratory, and second stage will be for development and deployment of the use cases selected. This Sangam event is divided into 2, stage 1 and stage 2. And stage 1 was exploratory. So we started in last December when we identified the pressing challenges in infrastructure planning. And what was discovered that there is a fragmented planning, and often they are working in silos, and there are data gaps, and data are disjointed, outdated and incomplete information. And there is a lack of synergy, so there is a critical need was felt for the cross-sectoral collaboration and iterative improvement. And how the technology can help in this. So we had a belief that these problems, what we have mentioned in the previous slide, are solvable problems with the technological advancements. And advancements in communication and sensing technologies, 5G and upcoming 6G, and the computational technology advancements, and it is a merger of communication and computation. So no more communication is a dumb pipe. Communication network is becoming intelligent, and this intelligence is becoming pervasive. How we can leverage that pervasive intelligence and leverage the combination of a communication and computation technology for the purpose of revolutionizing infrastructure, and how the simulation technologies and their rendering in a virtual world can help for scenario planning and discovering an optimal solution that was discussed. And means the new technologies like digital twin technologies, and combining these digital technologies with the AI driven insights so that we can have data in a single context. So if data is available from a different disparate data sources, how we can combine and can have a composite view out of this. So currently digital twins are being mostly used in case of factory, premises and plants, and mainly for the automation purposes and to enhance the operational efficiencies. But whether the same underlying capabilities can be leveraged or repurposed for the planning purposes, and we can have a better decision making when we are planning infrastructure. So these capabilities, when we started, everybody told that it is too ambitious and may take several years to demonstrate. But during this journey, what we have found that everything is feasible, and people are doing in bits and pieces. So already the solution pieces are available. Only thing is to combine them, assemble them and demonstrate from the perspective of this Sangam-Digital Twin initiative. So it required bringing stakeholders together, and that's why the name is Sangam. So this initiative has been designed to bring diverse stakeholders together, whether they are telecom service providers, big tech, startups, geographical information system modelers, academia and consultants. And it's good that we have more than 140 organizations or individuals as a part of this Sangam initiative, and they represent these diverse sets. And to achieve this common vision and to support India's development across sectors and to discover optimally designed infrastructure is the main aim of this Sangam initiative. And through this initiative, we are harnessing collective intelligence. It is not just about the data collection, how to extract the intelligence and utilize that intelligence for the purpose of the better planning. And we can have a insightful planning and we can have a incisive planning that how we can do. As I mentioned earlier, this Sangam has a two-stage. First stage through which we are going and we are about to conclude is that to encourage broad participation. And you can see that there is a diverse stakeholders who have participated in this and foster innovative thinking, sir. So we had a breakout session, multiple sessions running in parallel, and people were not knowing each other, but whenever you enter in any room, you will find that there was a deep engagement and people were trying to figure out that what best can be done. And they were not limiting themselves to their own solutions. They started thinking beyond their current solutions or the current capabilities of the product, and how to identify viable and impactful use cases. Once this stage will be over, we will enter into the Sangam stage 2, which may be a narrower in the scope, and maybe specific use cases may be selected for the development and demonstration to validate the effectiveness and the potential. So this stage 1 initiative, we had 4 networking events, and today is the final impressive array of participants from telcos, big tech, startups, consultancies, and academia participated in this. And these companies and the individuals who have participated have a specialized expertise in GIS or BIM simulations, metaverse, privacy enhancing technologies, and data science. Government bodies are also participated in our initiative, though we are also reaching out to various state governments and other central ministries that how we can collect the problem statements and collect the data sources which can be leveraged for the demonstration of our POC. So we have a strong potential for innovative and synergistic partnership emerging across these entities. So key learnings from this Sangam stage 1 is that use cases what we envision are feasible and our participants have capabilities to develop and demonstrate this. And every component of solution, there is some organization. Though no single organization is having a capability to demonstrate end to end, but there is some other participant who can complement the effort of one organization and come up with the final end-to-end product. So collaborative excitement was there. We have seen enthusiasm among all the participants to develop and build a new platform and whatever has been envisioned as a part of Sangam. New use cases have also been identified. We started with 4 vertical use cases and 4 horizontal use cases. And in every event, participants are suggesting new use cases and we are compiling that list and we see that there is a good potential to come up with a wide range of use cases which can transform the infrastructure planning and design. The federated architecture is one of the most important or the core of this Sangam initiative. And we can say that what we are aiming is not to ask the data, ask the questions and you will get the insights which is required for the planning purposes. So the federated digital twin architecture, where sectoral digital twins will be hooked to a national digital twin, and national digital twin will be playing a role of orchestrating communication among sectoral digital twins or organizational digital twins, and can be having some additional information or additional capabilities at its end to plan and design in an optimal manner. Knowledge currently means whenever we mention that interoperability is required between 2 digital twins, people are apprehensive that whether it is possible at the current stage or not. But from the perspective of planning, we don't need to, we can the sectoral digital twins. So how the knowledge abstraction and knowledge graphs can be generated at multiple levels, and you can have a city knowledge graph. City knowledge graph to answer many questions, and that can be used for the planning purposes. We have, people have suggested, participants have suggested architecture which takes care of this federation and takes care of the knowledge abstraction. And what is required, what has emerged from the various discussion is that there is a strong need of a national core fabric or a national digital twin. And this national digital twin, which will be working along with the sectoral digital twins or organizational digital twins, will offer common utilities, common tools, and there will be a pre-trained AI models, and there may be a engagement models, reference engagement models or a governance frameworks which can be quickly utilized by the sectoral digital twins or for the engaging with the various other stakeholders. So this national core fabric is one of the most important points which has emerged out of our Sangam-Digital Twin networking events. This is one slide which we discussed yesterday. After this is for the federated architecture and a high-level architecture. After discussion over this slide, we have received various other possible options and the additional elements. So we will be updating this slide on the basis of the inputs from other participants, and we will be including as part of the Sangam-Digital Twin initiative. And the purpose of this slide is that data privacy, how to maintain the data privacy. Sir, when we mention privacy, it is, one is that individual privacy, how it will be taken care of, and second is the commercial sensitivity of a business organization, how that will be taken care of. Because organizations don't want to reveal their information to their competitors. Market access or a market penetration others. How this architecture will be take care of their concerns. And third thing, sir, what is important and which will emerge from this architecture is that how to align the incentives. If data providers are contributing in creation of a knowledge, and that creation of knowledge will be utilized for a different purposes, but how the data providers will be incentivized to contribute in this. So their concerns should be addressed, and at the same time they should be incentivized. If these two things are achieved, and they will be willingly participating in this entire ecosystem. So they need not be pushed. They will be coming forward and sharing their data, and their concerns will be addressed. And they will not only be sharing current data, they will also exploring the opportunities to generate new data or to improvise quality on a continual basis, that how they can help others in a best manner. So if this architecture is realized, then we see that all the data providers will be coming willingly and enthusiastically to join this initiative and enable to extract the intelligence which is required for the solutions of the infrastructure. So building on this learnings from stage 2, now we have to have more targeted and refined set of requirements for the stage 2, and we have to develop an innovative and value-driven ecosystem of functionalities and tailored simulation models or use cases which are contextual to Indian scenarios. Sir, when we talk of a digital twin, there are three things. One is a object, other is an environment, and third is the people. So object can be quickly mimicked on a digital world. For mimicking environment part, we need to sync up with the IoT and other things that what is happening right now. And third is that, means whatever best infrastructure we create, but efficiency of that infrastructure will also depend upon the people's behavior or the infrastructure users' behavior. Currently, the modeling which is utilized by the organizations are based on international model or international set of scenarios. Behavior in Indian contexts are not modeled. How Indian context behaviors can be modeled and considered at the time of a planning. And what you have considered at the time of planning, that can also be utilized for nudging the behavior of the people. So there are two ways. One has to understand the behavior of the people as the infrastructure user, and another part is that what you desire, how to achieve that by digitally nudging that. So we have use cases where digital twins can be leveraged for digitally nudging the behavior of the people. And next is elevate the functionalities at what we will be doing at a POC level or India's level. How to elevate these functionalities and the capabilities we have acquired at a global level and showcase these capabilities as a potential service centers or as a potential digital service centers, and develop a model framework which can be leveraged by several state governments and local governments and come up with a standard so that we can address the interoperability issues and we can exploit capabilities of this ecosystem to the best extent possible. And next is, sir, what is the outcome of this stage 1 is roadmap to the transitions. Means whatever we will discover from this stage 1 POC, how to scale it up, how to adopt it, how to make a transition from the current state to the new state, what will be coming out of this Sangam initiative. So we have to create a roadmap to transition solutions from development to commercializations. And success of a stage 2 will also require certain enablers in place alongside POC development. And these enablers are what we are aiming for immediately after this Sangam stage 1 is that purpose-built sandbox environment for the development and demonstration of validated use cases. How we can establish a sandbox environment specifically for the Sangam-Digital Twin initiative. And this may be a sandbox and there may be also a piece of regulatory sandbox. And how we can develop a interdisciplinary understanding of sectoral requirements. Here traction from the individual department is required and we need to engage in a more deeper manner with various departments and various users or clients of this Sangam Digital Twin platform. And we should understand challenges and potential benefits of cross-sectoral intelligence in building use cases. So we have found that many of the departments are not aware that what data is available with the telcos and how the telco data can be leveraged. What telco network capabilities are coming which can be leveraged for scaling up solutions. If we want to scale up this solution, we can have a fantastic idea, but when we want to scale up, how the new generation telecom capabilities can be leveraged to scale it, the solutions at India's level. And we have to be careful, continuous and calibrated management of this transition. And when we are transitioning from current ecosystem to new ecosystem, how we can calibrate this management and how we can continually learn, adapt to the new requirements, sir. So, sir, together, let's build a smart and more sustainable future. That is the message we can say from this Sangam stage 1. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for giving an overview of the Sangam stage 1 and stage 2. Next, we will, sir, in the preceding 3 networking events, we had discussions on 4 verticals, that was transportation, environment, disaster, and healthcare. But in this networking event, as Additional Secretary Sir had only told us about the aspirational blocks and it was his idea. So that is why we have introduced a new vertical this time, that is on aspirational blocks, sir. So we would like to have a presentation on the aspirational blocks using digital twins, which will be presented by Mr. Rajat Mathur from BCG. So I request Mr. Rajat to please come up on the stage.
Pleased to see aspirational block making into Sangam, and I think proud to be associated and working on the ideation to make tech real and impactful at grassroots level. This got introduced yesterday, and as a team we came up with the first draft of how we can make digital twin real for aspirational blocks so that we can have a reasonably good impact seen at a ground. So to start with, we started with chalking out the vision for our digital twin in the aspirational block sector, and whole objective is to very much inspired from the original vision to improve the overall quality of life as well as the service delivery by leveraging and using digital twin. Initially, for this part, we prioritize 2 sectors, health and education. There are 5 sectors or 5 themes in aspirational block. We prioritize health and education as that contribute to 60% of the weightage there. Now, focusing on health and education, we devised our set of use cases. We brainstormed, prioritized certain use cases. It's just first a working list that we are just presenting here. To start it, the first one is design and optimize the network of
health center, mobile clinic, roads, sanitation, to maximize the utilization and ensure that the citizens are well served. The second use case is extremely hyper-personalized, localized health awareness to drive proactive and preventive checkups. For example, not every block would be interested in, let's say, diabetes or hypertension. We discussed that there are blocks which are near to the forest area, and there it is more about septic infection. Proactively teaching them and bringing the awareness that if you have this kind of a deep wound not being healed for some time, it requires an immediate medical attention. Advanced education in remote blocks using XR. Multiple children have different levels of curiosity. Do they really need to look at the books or the YouTube video? Or can there be some rooms where the AR video, which has, let's say, digital twin of, let's say, heart or gut, which we just taught in the health vertical as well. And through the AR and with different degrees of stages of maturity, the child can actually experience the entire ecosystem of a human anatomy. Remote medical consultation. Now this has been there for a while, where remote consultation through multiple modes have been there. But what we are suggesting is something again which we heard in our health vertical, is that if, let's say, a patient wear a biomechanical suit and there are sensors in the room which can detect various other parameters along with its biochemistry or pathology reports, a doctor sitting in any corner of the country can diagnose or at least come up with certain prelim diagnosis with help of paramedical staff and divert to the right direction to the patient. Last but not the least, Asit also mentioned about the highly contextual education for improved learning in junior schools. Now these are few use cases that we have thought through. There are multiple other which will come up today. For this discussion, we have picked up the first use case and try to do a deep dive on that. Our intent is to take Sangam output to the blocks. And for that, our construct is to identify, work with DOT, Sangam, Niti Aayog, and identify, say, 3 to 5 blocks on which we can run and develop a POC, which can then be handed over to Niti and to the state government for execution. So our first part, left-hand side, which is the stage 2 of POC, would be a collaborative team of Sangam, state government, and Niti to develop this POC, and then in the next 6 to 12 months, the state government bodies will do the implementation and see if there is an on-ground impact, KPIs, the measurement of the impact, what has been there, and what are some of the learnings that we can take as a feedback to improve our digital twin. Now, in order to do this kind of a POC and have an on-ground impact, as a team, we shortlisted certain KPIs as well as created additional or thought through some additional KPIs. As you all know, we had 40 KPIs provided by the ABP program. We thought that these are the KPIs which we can prioritize for our proof of concept. So to start with, in education, we say the percentage of schools with trained teachers, in health, percentage of pregnant women registered in their first term, percentage of institutional deliveries, percentage of pregnant women taking supplementary nutrition, and in education, percentage of schools having adequate number of girls' toilet. Beyond these KPIs, as a team, we came up and thought through some additional KPIs which we think can be put on the table for discussion. To start with, adherence. It's great that yes, there are health checkup for pregnant women, but are they being adhered? What is the percentage adherence of such a good program that we are running there? Average distance or time to reach a health center or a mobile clinic. Education, average distance or travel or a time travel to reach a particular school. And last but not least, the average utilization of the hospital, of the health centers, hospital, mobile clinic, schools, that is there. This would help us really touch and get the impact on ground. Now moving on, how do we make it happen? In order to make it happen, we identified certain components to enable this POCs. Of course, the most critical component starts with the data. So first and foremost, the GIS, which is coming from NRSC, telco OD data, geotag of existing infrastructure We debated quite a lot and we found that yes, these exist. Details around rural planning, demographics slash census data. Now, if there is a census data is dated from 2011, there is a provision where we can do some survey in these 3 to 5 blocks and gather this demographic data which is needed for a digital twin like ours. And of course, some constraints. For example, if you're picking a block, there would be some environmental constraints on that. So just bringing that context equally into the data part. Tech and architecture, of course, to start with sandbox, we need a good sandbox to at least start working on this POC. The privacy enhancement technology to ensure and give confidence that yes, the data, whatever we are exchanging is secure, and wherever needed, we have the federated learning and the federated mechanism to ensure that there are only insights which are coming rather than data getting transferred there. The GS model, the simulation tools, the environmental model, that is coming out to be as important one. These locations, some of these blocks which we observe when we are analyzing the 500 blocks, some of them be closer to, let's say, closer to sea, closer to places which are prone for, let's say, cyclone or potential disaster. Hence, a collaboration with the disaster management or any additional component which are contextual to this. Very quickly, we discussed a detailed architecture. We had the reference architecture as Asit sir also has shown there. But when we started to talk about this, we realized that it is not nothing different that we need to create it out. The reference architecture provided would be sufficient for making this work. This is a view of a more of a decluttered or an elevated view there. We have a detailed component view also available, but for the larger audience, a decluttered view. The key messages is A, the amount of federated learning, so ensuring that data privacy is well taken there. Second part, as you see on the right hand side, the secure API, which makes this digital twin a more inclusive, so that if there is any other twin that likes to speak or share the knowledge, there is a provision for that. And last but not the least, the right set of security and privacy measures to ensure that even the learnings from this digital twin is secured in the most upright manner. Now, in order to make it successful, we identify certain levers. The whole objective of identifying these levers is that let's not make any theoretical recommendation on paper which cannot be executed by, let's say, the state government, or even NITI would just say that no, this is too theoretical. So these are few levers if when executed on the ground can lead to an impact. So the first one is the right location of mobile clinics. Currently, it's done in a, with due respect, in a non-scientific way. We'll bring that data and a rigor there to ensure where to strategically place the mobile clinics. The road network, which is in purview of panchayat, you don't have to run through multiple ministries there. In fact, if there are certain roads which can be built in the right network to connect 3 to 5 blocks to a right set of hospital or school, multiple panchayats can come and create that. That is something which we are thinking about as a lever here. New health centers or schools, again, these health centers and schools can be done through state governments, which is very much feasible there. And last but not the least, the right set of resource allocation across the existing or the new infrastructure, be it schools or healthcare. Focusing on that, okay, there is a need for this healthcare center is not enough. What kind of a medical facility or what kind of a doctors or a paramedical staff that should be staffed there is equally important to ensure the right utilization and a right service delivery of that particular sector. We believe that in order to be successful on that, something like a key success factors for us is dedicated Sangam organization to manage this use case from top down. Experts in rural development. I think one thing which was emerging out very clearly is that as a team member sitting there, we really lack a domain or a rural development expert. And last but not the least, whatever we end up recommending there or actually being preparing has to have a guidance or a buy-in from the local leadership. The panchayats really have to be engaged in such a manner that yes, they understand what we are doing and they contribute to that project so that execution of that becomes much better. We propose a multidisciplinary project team to make this happen along with Sangam, NITI, state government, and with regular cadence. Of course, the leadership will be from NITI and state government being on the left-hand side, acting like potential customer or clients. Sangam being, of course, the delivery partner for this. Sangam leadership and, of course, supported by the experts as and when required from Sangam. We have a host of almost 100 plus experts sitting within this room or across the networking events. We have seen them. And of course, the joint working team, be it NITI and the state government, and of course the Sangam core team, which involves majority of the profiles that we have been talking about, be it your digital platform players, be it your PET or tech architects for that matter, AI/ML experts, system integrators, sandbox infra providers, multiple data providers, and so on and so forth, depending on the need of the use case. Our prelim roadmap, we thought through of a 6 months journey in that. To start with, I think month 0 is a pre-work where we need to have an alignment with NITI to make it real, to make it happen. We need to have an alignment with NITI to finalize the blocks, finalize what blocks we're going to target on, validate those use cases. Right now we have picked up one, but there can be multiple use cases. Validate that use case to state government or the block authorities. Then of course the alignment on the KPIs, and then the entire setup of data sourcing, the right set of contracting, cleaning up the data, building up the digital twin, the algorithms or the simulation models that are needed there. And of course, concluding that with the final demo and the implementation for this. Making sure that across all these touch points, across every month or every 15 days, there is a regular touch point with NITI Aayog as well as with the state government, as well as any experts which are needed there to make it super real and practical and implementable there. That's pretty much from my side. Thank you so much. Happy to take any questions or comments. Right, I believe silence is yes, so maybe I'll proceed. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Rajat, for presenting the discussion which we had in the aspirational blocks. Next, we will move on to the industry perspective, not only the industry perspective, but also the perspective from the diverse participants which we have in the Sangam initiative. So for the perspective of the startups, we have Mr. Sanchit, who is the CTO and founder of Katina. He will be representing the perspective of the startups, what they think about the Sangam initiative. So I request Sanchit to please come up on the stage.
Thank you, Kumud. That's a very big responsibility, representing all the startups. Am I audible? It's on, right? Yeah, wait. Yeah, like I said, it's a big responsibility representing our startups. And as you just saw, in this world, anything that can go wrong does in fact go wrong. So that's the Murphy's Law for you, which applies all the time to us people. Now, happily, we've been a startup we've been a company for 7 years now. Brief about me, out of IIT, started this company 7 years ago. We've been working with banks, insurance etc. We call ourselves a fintech. We call ourselves a proper company when we have to sell it to government and banks. We call ourselves a startup or a fintech whenever we have to avail, special stuff. But yeah, that's enough about us. More about the Sangam initiative and what I believe, startups can gain from it, and why I believe it's important. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm a tech guy, and I see in the vision of Sangam a way for varied network participants to come together. I've been part of a few working groups across industries, and this one feels very different because it's not just one single sector which is driving it. We have academia here, we have consultants here, we have hyperscalers here, we obviously have the startups. We also, again, like I said, we have a cross-disciplinary sector of people getting representative, and that is the true meaning of Sangam, bringing people together. And I feel that that's where a bigger responsibility comes on the likes of us, tech people like me, to build something which would be suitable enough for every single one of these participants to be happily able to consume. That's why Sangam is not just for people in this room, it's for people that will be touching lives of out there. So end consumers, industries, government departments, or even, again, if you can believe it, the models themselves. In fact, in every single one of our networking events, we have discussed the possibilities of autonomous models interacting with each other and deciding their KPIs as well. Which means we have to have incentives built at every single instance for custodians, for controllers, for principals, for consumers, for models. And this is totally different from other things that you may understand. Yes, we need consent. Yes, we need privacy. Yes, we have to handle multiple data sources. But it's not just one of those things. We have to do all of those things. And so, in closing, I'll just say, this one thing that I feel about, how we approach some of these things. It's very easy to bucket things neatly into maybe one or two or maybe three separate categories. We all know about classification algorithms and how they work. But there's a fallacy to that as well. There's a very, it's a joke. I'm sure some of you guys will understand. So if you were to see or build a graph of all the commit errors which have ever happened, you would find out that 90% of all errors are made by right-handed people. Now, does that mean that right-handed people do everything wrong? No, right? So, yes, the data is there. Yes, you can gather insights, but you also know how to lie with statistics. And the idea of building this sort of interdisciplinary scalable team or platform is to ensure that while we are generating knowledge, that knowledge is in fact able to deliver wisdom and not just lying with facts. That's it from me. I hope startups really get something from it. I hope this thing really gets big, and yeah, that's the eternal plan. Thanks.
Next, I would like to invite Ms. Anju Pandey from Oracle for giving a perspective of the big industry.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity there. And I would definitely like to share my perspective here because I have participated in many international ideation workshops. And all those workshops I could see more like a very canned way of workshop where academia is coming and a structured way of driving. The whole thing is that what is the outcome we want to drive from this ideation workshop. Here I would like to give lot of kudos to Asit sir and Komuji because they have given the full freedom to us as a innovator, right? When we are getting into a use case there, everybody is being given a full opportunity to come up with a free flow of ideas there. That is very different from the way I have attended other workshops where professor from Stanford coming saying that this is a structured framework and this is what the outcome we want to drive out of that. So it's a brilliant way of structuring things here, giving full freedom to every participants there, and that is the way the confluence of innovation is happening here in these workshops there. So I mean, I would definitely like to share this experience in international forums as well there, that this is a different way of achieving what we want to achieve out of these workshops there. Now, I would like to highlight the Sangam and why I am as a person, or even my company is Oracle, why we are super excited about it, because we are seeing that startups coming here, academia coming, big tech coming here, consulting organization coming here, and what I could realize that nothing is impossible. When we started the first networking event, everything was looking like, oh, it's a far, these workshops there. So brilliant initiative, and I think we are super excited to participate in this initiative, and I could make lot of friends here, and I'm super excited to connect with them as well and leverage their expertise and work collectively there. So thank you so much. Have a good day to all of you.
Thank you, Ms. Manju. Next, I would like to invite Professor Geeta Krishnan from IIT Madras for giving the academia perspective towards Sangam.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I think about 3 or 4 months back, we were planning to have our inaugural mobility summit at IIT Madras. And at that time, I was talking to Dr. Neeraj Mittal, Secretary, and I was briefing him about our plan in the Mobility Collaborative. The idea was to bring together academia, government, and industry to further the digital public infrastructure related to mobility. That was the idea. And immediately Dr. Neeraj Mittal said, we are doing the same thing, right? We are also coming up with a digital twin for improving, planning of mobility infrastructure, right? And then I shared a proposal with him, then he shared his, documents. There was a lot of overlap, right? Some ways, I think a lot of things are coming together. Mobility planning for a long time has been done in a very traditional, surveys with papers and so on, right? And usually takes a long time, and it's really not representative, right? We take samples which are less than 1% of the population, and we extrapolate for everybody. What telecom data is made available today is sample sizes which is far more than, say, 50-60% of the population. Right? This revolutionizes how planning can be done with respect to mobility. Academia has a lot of tools they have worked on. Industry has the data, the compute, power, as well as software technologies that they have developed. Government, of course, is a key stakeholder here, right? And I believe this initiative will be transformative for the country as a whole. And very happy to be participating in this. I've been closely following. About, I think, 8 months back, Asit ji and I were in a conference that iMetro, the Association of Metro operators in the country, they had organized. And I had similarly pitched a few things, and we had a very engaging discussion at that time. I don't know if Sangam was already, thought of. This was in October 2023, right? But I can see a lot of things falling in place, right? Academia brings certain credibility. Industry brings a lot of data and tools and techniques. And government is, of course, the one that is to deploy all of these services, right? So I think with this combination, we'll see a lot of improvement, right, when it comes to mobility planning. I thank all the organizers, DOT, for doing this, and very excited about phase 2, right, and to see what is possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, all the speakers, and for giving your perspective about Sangam, and we are glad you are liking the initiative. So moving forward, And our next speaker will be Shri Bhavesh Mishra, Deputy Secretary ITE and C from state Telangana State Government. Mr. Bhavesh will be talking about the state government perspective regarding Sangam. So I request Shri Bhavesh Mishra to please come up on the stage.
Thank you. Good morning to all. So, first of all, I welcome on behalf of Government of Telangana, IT, ENC department to all our partners here. I welcome Nisar from DOT, other senior colleagues from Department of Telecom, our industry partners from startups, academia and all. So till now we have heard the perspective from both from the academia side, startup side, from the DOT side. I come here to basically present the perspective of the implementation agency. So wherever we basically execute a program, we would require the last mile connectivity or the last mile delivery of that program. So I have joined this department just 2 weeks ago. So before that, I was working as a district collector in Jaisal Bhupalpalli district for 3 years. And before that, I had served in other districts of Telangana only. So 7 years, I have been on that side of the road. You can say the implementation side. Now I joined as a side that basically looks after the policy formation. Now, looking at the subjects that was basically discussed today, transport, healthcare, environment, aspirational block and disaster management, I can basically give my perspectives on 3 of them because with these 3 sectors I have worked closely in last 7 years. The first would be the healthcare, second would be aspirational and third would be disaster management. So Telangana happens to have 3 aspirational districts. We have one in Bhadradi Kothagudam district, the second is Umram Bhim Asifabad district and third is Jaisankar Bhupalpalli district. Interestingly, I happen to work in all 3 of them. So last 5 to 6 years. Before to this department, the district in which I was working had 2 of the aspirational blocks. So the idea that Rajat ji has basically given regarding the aspirational block, so I could relate to most of them. Just to share some of my perspective as to what happens when we actually try to do some project. So let us say we have basically decided to construct a road from point A to point B of let us say 5 kilometers. Now we generate a lot of data, all departments. So the road department will have its own data, the planning department will have its own data, the census department, every department has its data kept in different silos. Now how do you basically interconnect them? And what are the issues that we generally face? So if you look at the statistics given by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, we call it MOSPI, the figures are very different. The figures are like in country, around 400 projects worth 4 lakh crore rupees are delayed because of some various reasons. Most of them are delayed because of poor planning or they did not basically contemplate or think that these issues will be confronted when they actually go for the implementation part of it. So to cite an example, let's say you have started the construction of the road, you have approved the budget, but suddenly you realize that, oh, there is one court case pending on that particular piece of land, which is coming in the alignment part. Now, so the issue is, where do we get the data? So today, let us say we are sitting in this premise of T-Hub. Do we get to know that how many court cases were pending before this T-Hub was constructed on this piece of land? It's very difficult to get that data. Second issue would be that suppose you have started the construction of road and suddenly you have a torrential rainfall of 200 or 300 millimeter on a particular day. So is your design or the construction of the road prepared to handle that thing? So last year, in the month of July only, the district in which I was working had a rainfall of 600 millimeter within 24 hours. 600 millimeter. No one was prepared for it. So all the national highway roads, everything almost got washed away because of that. So how do you basically design a road? Then how do you figure out that which is the, let us say you have a river nearby. What happens, let us say you don't have a heavy rainfall, but from upstream, let us say from Maharashtra side, if you get a heavy, let us say inflow that particular river. So will your road be able to sustain that? So if you look at these points, you get around 90, 100 points that we'll have to basically look into. So whenever we do some policy or whenever we take some action plan, I think if all these data could be said in a way which can be seamlessly integrated. Currently the issue is that
Some of the data don't have proper APIs also. Whenever we feed some data through and let us say application or we do some data entry, it goes into the respective servers which cannot be properly integrated. So for example, let us say you are looking at the data of one particular block. We have 500 aspirational blocks in our country. If you want to see that, okay, how many tuberculosis cases in that particular GP have been identified in last 10 years, or if you want to compare that data with maybe a GP in Odisha, it is very difficult. Why? You will again have to go to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare website, drill down upon the data, and chances are you may not be able to find that. What about comparing that data with the malnutrition data of the ICDS department? Again, it becomes an issue. So this data pipeline, we generate a lot of data, this data pipeline has to be sorted out. That is one of the major challenges when we work in the district. We have 30-40 departments who work with us. But again, this jumble data, collaboration of all data, basically bringing all the data points into one policy perspective is one of the challenges that we see at our district level. Second would be, if you look at the overall R&D paradigm of our country, where our R&D budget actually goes. So we find that out of 100 rupees that we spent, 56 is spent by the government sector. And the contribution from the private sector is 44 rupees. Whereas if you compare this data with other countries, like if you take the case of China or Germany, the contribution from the government is only 13 to 14 rupees. So there is a difference here. So unless and until we ramp up the expenditure for doing these R&D works, whatever brilliant ideas that we saw here, they will require some kind of budgetary support, they will require some kind of financial assistance, either from the government side or in forms of R&D by the private sector also. So that R&D expenditure by the private sector also has to be ramped up. Because if we see from only the ROE kind of perspective, that what is my return on the expenditure that we have made, I think that will not be a way to basically assess the potential of all these ideas that we have discussed today. So for example, there is a very interesting case of a person called Paul Barron. So he was a scientist working for a corporation in America called RAND. We called it the RAND Corporation in late 1950s. So he came up with a brilliant idea of digital packet switching in 1960s. He came up with a report that, okay, if we adopt this technology of digital packet switching, we'll be able to solve the whole networking issue. At that time, the biggest player in this field was AT&T in America. Somehow, they rejected the entire idea. The same idea was implemented after 10 years by the government department called ARPANET, A-R-P-A-N-E-T. And that's how we got this entire network that we have today. Another example would be that in 1847, the whole computing science is based on a principle called Boolean algebra. So in 1847, our mathematician, Boole, he came up with this whole concept of Boolean algebra, multiplication and addition with zeros and one. At the time, the idea was rejected. But what we will do with this zeros and one? 100 years after, when this transistor phenomena came into picture, we found that, okay, that was the most relevant piece of information that we could actually leverage. So these ideas, some of these ideas may not be having immediate use. They might require some kind of R&D addition, they might require some kind of hand-holding. So instead of discarding this idea that, okay, this seems very fanciful or they will require a lot of investment, if we can actually handhold these ideas for a period of 2 years, 3 years, see where we can actually go, these very small ideas that we are looking at today, they will become big ideas in the future. Maybe some, so everything cannot be basically quantified in terms of our return on expenditure. As far as Telangana Met is concerned, currently we are in T-Hub. This is one of the biggest incubation hub in the world only. Besides T-Hub, we have T-Works also. So any startup who basically wants to prototype their ideas, they can come. We have a lot of, you can see, infrastructure with us. Apart from that, Telangana government also has 4 centers of excellence in form of cyber security, artificial intelligence, additive manufacturing, and 2 or 3 other domains. And we keep on adding these centers of excellence. As someone who has worked in aspirational district before, associated with aspirational block, any of the ideas, if you want to basically experiment at the ground level, if you want some support, hand-holding, or coordination at the district level, please feel free to reach out to me. We'll be more than happy to collaborate with DOT,
our startups, our academia partners, and private industry in implementing the thematic ideas that you identified today. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Rightly said that today's ideas will become the, reality for tomorrow. So moving on to further, so this is the time which is awaited by all the participants of the Sangam event. So now we will be releasing the output document for the Sangam networking event, which has been, we had had already 4 networking events. The outcomes of all these 4 network events have been compiled and an outcome document has been made. So the uniqueness of this outcome document is that it is a contributory document. It is a document in which the contribution of each and every participant is there, and we are really thankful to all our participants for giving us, valuable inputs and for sparing your time to give those inputs and documents. You have even worked for nights and days to give this inputs, and we are really grateful for that. So the next thing is that this document, sir, is not the final one. This is a draft document which we are releasing today. It is going to be an evolutionary document, and it will be open for comments from all the participants. And so I request to Sir Shri Neeraj Verma, sir, Additional Secretary, please release the document. So please come on the stage. Just press this one. Sir, आप ही आ जाइए. Thank you so much, sir. We will be circulating the document as a soft copy because it is still in the preparatory stage, so that is why we have not made any hard copies of it. So lastly, we will be having the special address by Shri Neeraj Verma. Shri Neeraj Verma is an IAS officer of the 1994 batch from the Assam cadre. Sir has worked in diverse area, like he has worked as a DM in Dibrugarh and worked in NHAI and other ministries of the central government. Currently, Shri Neeraj Verma is working as the Administrator USOF and Additional Secretary Telecom. So I invite Sir on the stage, please.
Thank you, Kumud. DG from Telecom, Mr. Asit, and colleagues from duty, Mr. Bhavesh Misra from State Government, and participants, dear friend. It is indeed a pleasure for me to have joined you for such an ambitious exercise, such an ambitious dream. It is a dream for us. And while Asit has been working tirelessly along with a secretary to realize this dream, I have been watching them from the background and watching them with awe, because from the journey which started last year, they have covered, along with active participation from you, quite a distance. I would like to mention here that this is a very priority project for the ministry. We have accorded a top priority, and it has, as you are aware, resulted in multiple networking events, to discuss about the various proof of concept and coming to stage 1 and stage 2 of this exercise. These networking events are very important because we get very valuable input from you, and it would help us in realizing this exercise, which is essentially multidisciplinary, multi-sectoral collaborative exercise. In fact, many of you have already said that we work in silos. That is a problem in the government, and that results in coming to a solution both at government level and I'm sure at the private level also, which is not an optimum one. This digital twin exercise will definitely help us in a lot. We were earlier thinking that there could be a like hub type of thing in digital twin, but there are challenges there. So as Asit has said in his presentation, we will have a federal architecture where data centers will be there for different departments, and it can be collaborated for various uses. From ministry, I am happy to inform you that this act which is coming into place, Telecom Act, we are looking at a regulatory sandbox, and that will further facilitate private sector in a big way in leveraging this exercise. Mr. Mishra has given a very good insight into what an administrator in the field grapples with, what are the challenges and how this data uses can help us. I'll like to share my experience. And first thing is the need for simulation. I was involved in 2 exercises. I was member PPP in NHAI. One of my project was Eastern Periphery Expressway. It's a 130 kilometer expressway project, and it had 11,000 crore of investment. Similarly, I was involved in Dwarka Expressway. You are aware of this road. This is 25 kilometer road, but in terms of cost, it is very high, almost around 300 crore per kilometer. So these are all greenfield project, and we wanted to, because in NHAI, we want to ground the project which are viable project, where you earn over the period of time, and you do tolling and you get the revenue. So we wanted to simulate some sort of a traffic, and this is all very inaccurate because it's a greenfield project. You don't have any traffic at all. I try to, in fact, I got mobile traffic data on the existing Delhi-Gurgaon Expressway, and looking at the capacity of the existing express road, we tried to simulate some sort of a data. We came to some solution, but number one, it took a lot of time, and number two, it was very inaccurate. Now, I can say that if there is a digital, this is Sangam type of thing, not only will have data which is very accessible, I can simulate, I can have a sensitivity analysis, and I can see that what could be my payback period. Second is, again, for solutions, which can be like day-to-day solutions we deal with. It could be a greenfield, but it could still be very, very effective. Again, Delhi-Gurgaon Expressway, there was a toll plaza, and that was removed. When the toll plaza was there, if you remember, there used to be a long queue of vehicles. While there was a case and it was removed, MCD Delhi did not remove their entry tax toll plaza, and it resulted in long queues over a particular period of time. And we didn't know what is the solution to be. And we again tried, we did a spot inspection, we applied queuing theory there, and we tried to get some phone data movement of through some private consultants. It was an inaccurate solution, but it took almost a month's time to come to some sort of a solution and something like a staggered toll in one side of the expressway. So I think that these two will, I feel that gives you an insight into what problems government would face and how it can solve if we have a digital twin through Sangam is there. We can get data, this data is not only we work in silos, we are very conservative in preserving our data. So when I say that I'm in telecom department, tomorrow if I want data of, let's say, road sector in Vahan and Sarthi, it's not very easily available to me. For private sector, it is even more difficult. I remember that when we had this data in Vahan and Sarthi, the exercise was essentially a digitization, and then eventually we found that there is a lot of interest from private sector to get this data. Of course, setting aside this privacy concern and masking some sensitive data, still there was a interest because there could be some crowdsourcing solution. But even government, it would be very difficult. Tomorrow, if I want, I may not, it may take days together to get it. And for private sector, it would take much more time. So in exercise like this, definitely it is going to help government and private sector in a big way. This will help us essentially as a decision support system. And what I look at it, how the private sectors, how these participants, various, academia and consultants and all, how they can help us. Number one is they can help us in contributing to this Sangam exercise, how it can be a very effective one. And second is that, you can leverage through positive externalities. What are going to be the, different use cases and how you can use it. So I'm sure that you all are equally as excited as we are, and together we will cross this journey. Now it has come to a very crucial phase where we are going to look at some proof of concept. Mr. Rajat's presentation was very enlightening for aspirational blocks. I have a USO fund, so I have a BharatNet network. It does touch the aspirational blocks, and we do provide high-speed connectivity. We have a dream of providing high-speed connectivity to villages. So probably it's an exercise where I would also be interested. We'll sit together, we'll try and get to some workable model where we can start a pilot project. So in the end, I would say that I appreciate each and every one of you who have participated and traveled this journey together with us. I assure you that the ministry will continue to accord topmost priority to this exercise. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words, and truly your blessings and guidance is really important for us to take this initiative forward. Lastly, I would like to call Raghav Reddy, ADG from Department of Telecom, for the vote of thanks.
Good morning, all the dignitaries and participants. I am Raghav Reddy, Assistant Director General from Department of Telecom. As we conclude the Sangam Network event at T-Hub, Hyderabad, I am honored to extend our heartfelt thanks to everyone who made this event a resounding success. First and foremost, I am grateful to Sri Neeraj Verma, Additional Secretary, Department of Telecom, for gracing the event and providing his visionary guidance to steer the event. And our deepest gratitude goes to Sri Niti Jain, Special DGT, APLSA, and Sri Ratnakumar, DDG, and the officers from APLSA for their invaluable support. I would like to express my gratitude to Sri Bhavesh Mishra, Deputy Secretary, IT&C, Telangana Government, for joining his. A special thanks to all our esteemed participants, including representatives from leading companies. Your active engagement and innovative solution, collaborative spirit have been cornerstone of this event. The innovative solutions and comprehensive blueprints developed during these breakout sessions on key verticals and horizontals are a testament to your dedication and expertise. We also extend our appreciation to organizing committee at T-Hub and TCOE for their meticulous planning and execution of this event. Your hard work behind the scene has ensured a smooth and productive gathering. I would like to thank Sri Asit Kadayan sir and Ms. Kumud Jindal for conceptualizing Sangam Digital Twin and bringing all the stakeholders together to revolutionize the infrastructure planning and design. Thank you to all the attendees for your participation and contribution. Your presence and inputs have made this event a truly impactful, paving the way for transforming advancements in the digital solutions. As we move forward to the next stage of Sangam, we look forward to your continued participation and collaboration as we build on the momentum from this event and work towards a more connected and innovative future. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you for attending this closing plenary. So I request you all to please proceed for lunch. After that, we will be having the final breakout sessions. Thank you.